Okay, so we have another supply and demand puzzle. This one's a little bit longer. So this one is basically pretty similar to the last one, only instead they're talking about the price of pizza now, or calzones. So in a college town, the price of calzones has recently increased. The students of an economy class are debating why. One group says that it's because several pizza parlors in the area have gone out of business. Other students think that it's because the price of calzones, the price of beer, has decreased. So we're going to look at the groups one by one. First group of students thinks that the increase in the price of calzones is due to the fact that several pizza parlors in the area have recently gone out of business. So if people are going out of business, that means that there's less people supplying. If there's less people supplying, then we're going to affect our supply curve. Now, if there's less people supplying, that means at any given price, there's going to be less quantity. So we should be able to shift the supply curve to the left. Now we go on to the next one. The second group of students attribute the increase in the price of calzones to the decrease in the price of beer. Beer. Yum. Not the point. Beer. So typically people would think of, drinking beer and pizza together. If they're drinking them together, that means they're complementary goods because consumers buy them together. Well, if it's talking about consumers buying them together, we're going to be working with our demand curve. Now, if the price of beer is going down, then that means that people have more money to then spend on their pizza, or to buy more pizza than they normally would. So that means that we can go ahead and shift our demand, and they have more to spend, which means they're going to demand more. So we shift our demand to the right. So it should look something like that. Now we can move on to our next part. It says, suppose that both of the events you just have analyzed are partially responsible. So if we go back and look at our actual situations, then yes, the price of our calzones did go up here. And yes, the price of our calzones did go up here. So both of them are technically right, possibly. So we want to figure out which was the more dominant reason, or the more correct reason that the prices actually went up. Well, we could look at this one right here, which talks about the price increase was large, but the price increased regardless of who was right, or whoever ideas it was. So we automatically know that price isn't really relevant for this question. Now, whichever change came first, that'd be important if one affected the other, but the two changes are completely irrelevant of each other. The price of beer doesn't really affect the fact that people are leaving. So that means the equilibrium of our quantity, can't talk. The equilibrium of our quantity is changing. So if we look at these two options, it says the equilibrium quantity of the calzones decreases. Then the demand shift in the market must have been larger than the supply shift. This goes back to the question before in the true and false statement at the end. When we're worried about shifting two curves at the same time, both demand and supply, if they're moving so that the one goes in the same direction, then our undetermined good, or equilibrium point, which is our quantity for this problem, whatever direction that shifts tells us which of the two were larger. So want that our quantity decreased? Well, out of our two graphs, the one that has a quantity decrease would be the first graph, which came from idea 1, which was that more of them were going out of business, which was a shift in supply. So if we're worried about the quantity decreasing, then we should be worried about a larger shift in the supply curve. So if we go down here, that would mean that this was our answer. And that's how we do that one.